Yeah, I like presenting in ballrooms like this because it kind of feels like a very weird wedding. My name is Anthony Scuderi. I am the co-founder of a company called GridSpace. We are an artificial intelligence company that focuses on analyzing long-form human-to-human conversational speech. And what I want to talk about this morning are the atomic elements of conversational speech, the fundamental units of which it's constructed that we focus on analyzing and automating around. We primarily operate in the call center environment, but we also look at long-form conversations of all form. Conversations are really interesting because there are a lot of things that make conversations very special, and a lot of reasons that we still use conversational speech even in a world of email and texting. It has a lot of very unique properties. We have dedicated parts of our brain dedicated just to speech generation and processing. We still use it today because it's fast, it's innate, it's layered, it's synchronous, and it's dense in meaning. And that's what makes speech very interesting to us. If you look at the Cuneiform tablets in Sumeria, one of the earliest forms of writing, the first things that they wrote down were transactional pieces of information, sales, debts, harvests. And I want to make the argument today that all speech is transactional. And I don't just mean necessarily financial transactions, but anytime you say anything, there's a purpose behind why you said that, or at least hopefully. And the goal here is to understand every time when we're looking at a conversation, whether we're analyzing it in analytics or we're trying to automate it, there's a purpose behind what we are saying and what is being said to us. And I want to look at the kind of fundamental units of these transactions that make up full conversations. So a simple transaction, one person has something and another person has something and they exchange it. In a conversational context in a call center, a caller might have something that they need, an agent has it, and then they reach a conclusion. In a more complex scenario, both sides have information that they need from the other, and only when they all have exchanged what they needed can the call reach some sort of resolution. I want to look at the taxonomy, the kind of fundamental types of animals that you see in a conversation. These are called dialogue acts. That make up this kind of zoo of fundamental dialogue components that form a conversation between people. Here's the ones that we recognize in a conversation when we're analyzing it or when we are participating in it in the form of autonomy.
Thank you for calling Layton Insurance. How can I help you?
Have a good day. It looks like you're all set up. Is there anything else I can help you with today? Oh, I'm so sorry, Mr. Jones, but we are not the West End. We're actually hotels worldwide. I'm so sorry to hear that, sir. May I have your name?
1248. Oh, okay. Yep. Pulled you right up here, and I see that.
Did you call it in, or did you use the email, the online service? Check in. Okay, we have a room with 2 queen beds available. Will that suit you?
So this is a conversation being analyzed live in our analytics product SIFT. When we're trying to figure out what the purpose of each dialogue act is, and oftentimes multiple purposes per sentence, you have to look both at a small context and at the context of the conversation as a whole to figure out why someone is saying what they're saying, what the purpose of it is, what the subtext is. You also have to look very closely at every word and the way the word is said, both the semantics and the prosodics of what they're saying. If you want to be able to piece together, why is this conversation happening? How is it going? Is it reaching a resolution? What are the goals of both speakers? Are promises being made, or questions being asked, or answers being given? In addition to the kind of more mechanistic black and white aspects of these speech transactions, one of the things that make conversational speech different than text or chat is that there's a lot of emotion conveyed that add a lot of color to the conversation. And a large amount of the information that we exchange when we talk is in how we say things and not just what we say. Humans evolved emotion in a social context, and a large amount of the reasons that we express emotion, even though it's an internal state, is that it's a form of social communication that is actually about half of the information in conversational speech. And if you want to understand what something means, and a lot of times when people are calling call centers, they have a lot of emotions, you need to understand this just as much as you need to understand the kind of more clinical transactional parts of the conversation. And so we do a lot of work using multimodal neural networks where we're looking at both what is being said and how it's being said, intonation, tone, prosody. I'm going to play you a couple examples of those in a moment as well, of the emotions that we are having our neural networks recognize here. And you can see, just listen to the tone and the frequency.
This was not my mistake, but I am being punished for it. Will there be a fee or a penalty or anything like that?
The other car slammed into me out of nowhere. Then it just drove off.
This is the first time I've ever made this mistake.
We've been on the phone so long, I feel like I should invite you to my wedding.
I just got into medical school.
Oh, I am so glad to hear that.
Look, I work way above your pay grade.
There were a lot of happy memories in that house.
Yeah, my hobby is paying late fees. Oh, wow, that's great news.
So my point here is that there's multiple simultaneous channels or streams of information in every conversation. There's the tone, the subtext, the context, as well as the meanings, the entities, the tasks that need to be fulfilled, and then the underlying meaning of each sentence. And only when you have these building blocks as they flow through your call center or through your conversation can you really start to distill and understand a conversation in its entirety. And that's what we build models to do. It's what we build tools to do. And once you start understanding these building blocks and kind of can understand a conversation in a distilled transactional form, you can begin to build analytics and begin to build automation that takes advantage of these building blocks and allows you to compute on them, begin to build systems that are emotive and responsive and that understand the complex transactional structure of a conversation in the call center environment. We look at trends over time in very complex templates of types of calls down to things that occur in 1 in a million call types. We look at the trends and emotions and the correlations between, for instance, when prices are brought up angrily, there's a 15% reduction in satisfaction, or when someone shows empathy, there's a 20% growth in satisfaction or resolution. And if you want to look at these sort of very complex emotive and semantic flows through a conversation, you need to understand that. Now, call centers are in a way the mechanization or industrialization of conversational commercial speech. And as we have millions of Americans and many more millions worldwide working in call centers, it is the industrialization of speech that is responsible in part for the growth of the commercial enterprise. And what I want to show you is an example of the industrialization of that industrialization. I'm going to show you something that not many people have seen. It's our work on dialogue systems, taking these fundamental building blocks and building an autonomous call center agent named Grace.
Good morning. Thanks for calling Harper Valley National Bank. My name is Grace. How can I help you today?
Yes, last night I was entertaining some clients and I think I left my wallet at the restaurant, and to be safe, I want to replace my debit card.
Before I can help you with that, I'll have to authenticate you, okay?
Okay.
May I ask who I'm talking with first and last name, please?
My name is Chris Johnson.
And what was the name of your first pet?
Professor Sparkles?
Okay, great. That's Professor Sparkles. All right, let me check that information you gave me.
Okay, Mr. Johnson, just checking your name. Looking through your security questions.
Professor Sparkles. Oh my God, that's precious.
Oh, he was precious.
Okay, I just submitted your request. All right, thank you, Mr. Johnson. You are authenticated. Okay, should I go ahead and submit that request for your new debit card?
Yes.
Okay. Let's check on that card.
Just seeing how long that'll take.
Okay, so I expedited that brand new card A. I also went ahead and waived the normal fee for you.
Oh, thank you.
It should arrive in 3 business days, sir.
Great.
Is there anything else I can do for you?
Yeah, I should probably make sure no money was stolen from my old card. Can you tell me my checking account balance?
Okay, Mr. Johnson, I'm going to look up that checking balance for you.
Okay, bringing up your checking account. Okay.
All right, Mr. Johnson, I see here that your checking account balance is $37.35.
Okay.
Can I help you with anything else?
I would like to $1,000 from my savings to my...
Would you like help with something else?
Yes, I would like to transfer $1,000 from my savings to my checking account.
I'd be happy to make that transfer, Mr. Johnson.
Thank you.
Just to confirm, you want me to move $1,000 from your savings to your checking?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Johnson.
I'm initiating that transfer.
Okay, Mr. Johnson, I submitted that. It should go through in 3 to 5 business days.
Thank you.
Would you like help with something else?
No, that does it. I appreciate it.
Okay, sir, have a great day.
You too. Goodbye.
All right, wasn't great, Grace, great. So in that conversation, you saw probably a dozen or so transactions, all featuring those building blocks that we talked about, entities, meaning, emotional content, and a lot of fundamental dialogue acts. And flowing through the system, first, you're hitting speech recognition, recognizing the words that are said, then a dialogue system or the bot, and then our speech synthesis model. And then that goes through the internet, through phones, through the air, through sound waves into the brain, and then back out through the vocal tract, all the way back to our speech recognition. This is a very complex nonlinear system where there are going to be errors in every step of this process, and understanding the conversation holistically and understanding these fundamental atoms that make up a dialogue is absolutely essential to both being able to handle the kind of unpredictability and nonlinearity of the call, and to handle this transaction in a way that is task-oriented and reaches a fundamental conclusion. So we talked here today about the fundamental elements that build up conversations. This is what we spend our time on, understanding semantics, understanding speech, emotion, and vocal quality. If you'd like to see some of this stuff demonstrated, come visit us at booth 100 later in this conference. But I hope also that when you talk and when you're working in the call center or you're working in call center analytics or conversational speech analytics, you think about these kind of fundamental building blocks. Make sure that you understand what is the purpose behind anything that someone says. There's always a reason that someone said something, oftentimes multiple reasons, and oftentimes it's buried in the subtext or buried in the emotional content. And so thank you, everybody, and we'll see you guys later in the conference. Have a good rest of your day.